Wow, okay. Eden Zero is one of the most surprising anime that I've ever seen. I'd heard that Eden Zero was both darker and better than Fairy Tail, an anime that I actually really like. I'm looking forward to 100 Year Quest. But man, people really undersold how good this anime actually is. For starters, the biggest surprise for me was the animation. Eden Zero is animated by JC Staff, a studio notorious for having bad animation. Now, this notoriety isn't exactly fair. JC Staff Animation is more of a coin flip between being not very good, like with One Punch Man Season 2, and absolutely excellent, like with the Konosuba movie and Taboo Tattoo, which is annoying because One Punch Man had a great story, and Taboo Tattoo was one of the worst anime I ever sat through, but it was pretty at least. So I was a little worried when I heard that JC Staff was animating this, especially since, bar the final season, Fairy Tail was beautifully animated by the always great A1 Pictures. However, the animation in Eden Zero exceeds Fairy Tail for me personally. Yes, there are some slideshow moments, but even an anime renowned for having amazing animation, like My Hero Academia, is guilty of doing that as well. Some of the fights in the show are truly great, and I loved all the animation around Arsenal's character, whose secret identity I won't spoil. Also, there's a few moments of fan service that are, let's just say, really well animated as well, which I greatly enjoyed. Don't read into that too much. There are also moments of CGI as well here. It's used sparingly, but there is a moment in the final few episodes where it's used very heavily. I'd say the CGI quality is on par with Attack on Titan's final seasons, so that should indicate to you whether the CGI will be okay for you or not. Now, onto the actual meat of the anime. Eden Zero Season 1 follows Shiki on his journey to make friends and to find Mother, who is basically this universe's god. In Season 1, Shiki and his friends need to find four distinct people who, when joined together, will hopefully lead them to Mother. This is the gist of the story in Season 1. Anything else would go into spoiler territory, and I recommend going into this anime with as little knowledge as possible, because it was really good. Now, a lot of people have said that Eden Zero is just Fairy Tail again, and that Shiki is just Natsu reincarnated. Both statements are wrong. Outside of fan service and character designs, Eden Zero is nothing like Fairy Tail. It's very serious with silly and comedic moments, but also dramatic moments that, unlike in Fairy Tail, actually stick and actually remain or are part of the story. That Shiki also isn't just another variant of Natsu. Yes, friendship is a defining part of his personality, but it's different to Natsu. Natsu was about protecting his friends and looking after them, whereas Shiki grew up on a planet full of robots, where he was the only human, so his goal is to make as many friends as possible to avoid being lonely. It also makes sense that Shiki would want to protect his friends, as he would spend all his time on that robot planet repairing the robots. Also, Natsu loved to fight, a quality Shiki does not share. I also really liked Rebecca, which is surprising because I never liked Lucy in Fairy Tail. She always felt like the weakest link of the group who was there solely for fan service. The same is not true of Rebecca. Yes, there is fan service for her, but she is not the weakest link of the group. In fact, one of the positives of Eden Zero was that the entire group felt useful. There was no one holding the group back. Rebecca, unlike Lucy, is very useful in combat, and is a lot more supportive and assertive than Lucy is. Wise has no Fairy Tail counterpart to compare to. He is silly and pretty horny. He feels like an old man trapped in a young man's body, which is funny when you think about his story. However, like Rebecca and Shiki, he's very useful and holds his own in fights. Even if he is probably the most cowardly and self-centered of the group, he still puts his friends first. Homura is probably the most skilled combatant of the group. She's very shy and keeps her cards very close to her chest, which makes it hilarious that she has this quirk which causes her to blurt out her innermost thoughts, leading to some very silly moments. Pino is an interesting character. She has the most visually unique design out of all the characters in Eden Zero, and basically acts as the innocent little girl that everyone wants to protect. She's kind of like Pinocchio. She wants to be a real boy. A real girl human. Witch and Sister don't get much characterization in this first season, but Hermit receives a lot of backstory that is very dark and spoilery. Let's just say she was a very kind person who wanted to do good and help people, only for that kindness to be taken advantage of, and for those who took advantage of her to go on and do some truly horrific things to her. So yes, she has a very very dark backstory, and it leads to some of the best episodes in the series for me personally. Then there's Happy, who is just the same character as Happy from Fairy Tail. His role in the series is mainly to support Rebecca's failing beekeeper job, which struck a little too close to home for me, and to react to the moments where Rebecca gets a little too clout chasey, such as when, in one scene, she is stripped and tied up with ropes, and her main response is, "Man, this would make such a good thumbnail." Which it would, let's be honest. I'd click on it. But yeah, Rebecca is very, very clout chasey, and she reacts to certain situations a lot differently than most people would, and a lot of people around her seem to look at her and like, what are you doing? Man, she's such a much better character than Lucy. Soundtrack wise, I don't really remember if it was good or not. It didn't really stick out to me, but there was nothing there that made me think, oh man, this is a terrible soundtrack. However, the openings, hoo boy, they were great. Eden Through the Rough by Takanori Nishikana is a great first opening, and the second opening, Forever by L'Arc-en-Ciel, may be even better. If I had to issue a complaint against the anime, it's that some shots are framed so that a character's boobs, butt, or even vagina are right at the forefront of the screen, whilst a completely different character is in the background expositing important dialogue. It can be a little distracting. Not that I'm complaining, but at the same time, I am complaining. Like I said before, the animation is great, so the fight scenes are great. The directing by Yuji Suzuki was marvelous, and I was deeply saddened to learn of his passing before the final episode of the season. At least he can rest knowing that his work on Eden Zero was truly outstanding, and whoever is hired to replace him has very big shoes to fill. The characters for Eden Zero are all fun and interesting, and the decision to have a smaller cast than Fairy Tail works wonders for the series. Also, speaking of Fairy Tail, there are a ton of references to Fairy Tail that will make Fairy Tail fans like me very happy. There were lots of moments where I pointed at the screen, I was like, I know what that is, I know what you're referring to there. The story is very dark and interesting, with the second half in particular of the anime being truly incredible, and I'm greatly looking forward to the apparently confirmed second season. Whether you're a fan of Fairy Tail or any of Hiro Mashima's works, such as Rave Master, which I still haven't seen yet, it doesn't matter because I highly recommend Eden Zero. It's just so objectively good. When it first came out, its my anime list score was in the 6s. It is now in the 7s, which, while not necessarily the greatest score of all time, goes to show that a lot of people initially wrote the show off as a Fairy Tail clone from the creator of Fairy Tail, only for the anime to stand on its own 2 feet and show us what it's truly made of. There was a moment in Eden Zero where my jaw literally dropped, where I was so taken aback by what I had just seen, so surprised that such a moment occurred in Eden Zero of all anime, that I realised how truly special this anime is. I will not spoil this moment because I think it's the best moment of the season as a whole, and I really, really highly recommend watching this anime just to get to that one moment where your jaw will hopefully also drop. If this anime maintains this level of quality, which manga readers have told me it does, but let's be honest, manga readers are known to overhype things here and there, then this anime has a good chance of becoming one of my all-time favourite anime series. Please consider liking and subscribing if you want me to continue covering Eden Zero, or to talk about other anime that I'm interested in, or even films and television shows, or games that you think I might be interested in. Anyway, hope that you all have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye.